Hey guys, it's churches, graveyards and graves again. So this is the second part I wanted to do. We're again at St Mary's in Asbury, and there's just so much here that I wanted to do a couple of other videos because it's just so interesting. It's certainly in one of the rarest churches in the country, and it's got loads and loads of stuff that you just want to see. So I'm going to show you a few bits. I'm going to show you around the church a bit and show you some of its highlights. So I've already shown you the grave, the canopied mausoleum, and I want to show you a couple of other things now. So this first thing is this beautiful tree behind me. So this is a yew tree, and actually you can just see there that it's actually supported by wooden supports, and the reason for that is just how old it is. So I'm just going to describe a little bit about it. So they've actually carbon dated this tree. They've made the effort to do that, and it's actually they reckon around 2,000 years old. So it's extremely rare, hence the reason it's got like the supports. Yew trees were particularly they last a long time basically, and that is why they're found in so many cemeteries. So I'm going to turn it around so you can actually have a look at it. Here we go. So yes, this is the yew tree, and you can still see it's still alive, although quite obviously it's you know, and some people have put some little stones here saying it is 2,000 years old. And I just want to tell you something about yew trees, because they were actually planted by the Celts originally. So it's probably recognised that this site has been a site of worship for possibly around 2,000 years. And yew trees were worshipped by the Celts, and you still find them in a lot of cemeteries today. So I'm going to come around a bit so you can see it. And that's why yew trees are still here in these churchyards. And also, as Christianity came in, the Christians kind of took over, and it moved away from the tree worship, obviously, and it moved towards more showing immortality, because the yew tree is evergreen, as you can see. It's an evergreen tree, and because it lasted so long, they considered it like the immortal soul. So often these beautiful yew trees are found in particularly old cemeteries. So I just wanted to show you that, because a tree of this age showing a site of worship for over 2,000 years is pretty rare. Okay, so that's the beautiful yew tree, and like you say, you will see them in other cemeteries. As Christianity took over from the pagan religions, they took on a slightly different meaning. So I'm just going to move around the church now and show you a few other bits, because there's just so much to see, and I just want to show you a few of the graves and a little bit of the church itself. So we're going to walk around now. So we're going past the yew tree, and again in the graveyard you've got and it's a two-tower church, by the way. So you've got this tower, and then it's got the widest nave certainly in Cheshire. It's massively wide, and yet the tower is off at an angle which is completely unique to this area. And I'm just going to walk up here. But what I've really enjoyed looking at, and I'll show you some photographs, is these beautiful grotesques as well. Can you just see that one? Look at that. They're everywhere on this church, these grotesques. So that's and these really old doors, you can see how old it is. And I'm just going to take a little bit further, and the graves are a variety. You've got the canopied grave over there, which we talked about, but I want to show you this one. Now on older graves in the Victorian times, they moved more to, I was just saying, in the Victorian times they moved more towards like the urns and the weeping willows. I've shown you a few of them on the site, but the older graves tended to show more of like the mortality signs, like the skulls and the bones and things like that. And this sort of grave is typical of this. And you only tend to get it on the older ones because they moved away from these symbols of death, you know what I mean? So, and moved towards more pleasant symbols, if you can imagine that, if you can imagine more pleasant symbols like the urn. And you can see on this one has got, you know, and it was much more crudely carved. So there's the skull there, and then you've got these like crossbones here. So no, that's and all these graves on the floor, a lot of them would have been casket graves, but they've lost like the bottom bit to the grave. So I'm going to take you around here and just show you a little bit more. So look how stunning these are. So these again are grotesques, quite crudely carved, because and you can see these beautiful carvings up here as well, which is they're just really stunning, they are. I'm just going to move you to the front a little bit. So again, you've got these casket graves, and most of these graves on the floor are would have been like this, but again they've lost their bottom sections. So I'm just going to take you around here and just show you a little bit of the church as well. And there's one more thing I just want to show you in particular, to show you the entranceway as well, which shows this is like a Gothic entranceway. And it was this. So this would have been the old medieval cross, but quite clearly it's missing its cross. Oh dear. Right, so I'll just explain a bit about these. You find them in the oldest churches, the old medieval cross stand. So yeah, I'm just coming so you can see it. So yeah, this was the old medieval cross, and these would have been in the oldest churchyards, but then in the Reformation, in around about 1550, a lot of these crosses were destroyed. The Puritans didn't like anything to do with the popery or anything Catholic, and a lot of these crosses that were on top of these pedestals were taken down. So very, very rarely now do you see, you know, at the medieval pedestal with the cross on it, because the Puritans removed them in around 1550. It wasn't until, and then for about 100 years there was a lot of problems. They were so strict, the Puritans were. There was no cross symbology anywhere, because they didn't want to associate, you know, with Roman Catholicism basically at that time. And so, you know, again, this is typical of that era. And you know, they've removed the cross, and in some churches you see it with a sundial on top, but this one hasn't got anything on top of it. It's just like the pedestal without the cross, really. And then again, after 1660, people started to have crosses around, and different types of crosses again on gravestones. But prior to 1550, there was very few people who had a grave. You just had like these crosses that symbolised it was a burial ground, basically. So that's quite interesting, and that it just shows that this church is incredibly old to have one of these actually in the churchyard. So the cross would have been removed in you know, like the mid 16th century, really. So that's really interesting. It just shows you something about the age of the church. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed some of the what I've said today, as particularly about the cross and about the church itself. And I'm going to put a few photographs on of like the grotesques and the gargoyles, so you can actually have a look at them and take your time over them and see the beautiful detail and you know, the carvings that they went to do it. Okay, so hope you've enjoyed that. This is Churches, Graveyards and Graves. If you like my videos, if you like my posts, please like and share them, because I spend a lot of time looking at them, going around these churches, and I really hope you enjoy them, and I'd like other people to hear about this amazing history, particularly in the graves and all the symbols and that. All these graves tell such wonderful stories, and I hope you enjoy watching it and reading about it when I put them on. So please like and share my videos. See you soon, guys.